Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a little bit of a repeat redo of one of our older videos. If you watch some of our really early videos, you may remember us showing you how to make honeysuckers. And you may think to yourself, well, Mama Bear, why do you feel the need to make another video on this? Well, let's go into a little story time mode real quick. Because in the last video, if you watched it, and if you haven't, feel free. It's a short video. I want to say it's maybe 5 or 8 minutes long. Papa Bear and I were both working on it. I was mainly the camera holder, and he was walking y'all through how to do it. Well, it was when it was still pretty cold. I don't know if it was cold. It was a lot cooler outside. It was early February maybe. Well, turns out humidity plays a big part when it comes to candy making. And the humidity that day, since it was so cool outside or cold outside, was really low in the house. And we didn't have any issues making these suckers. They came out great. They set up for us. And this was actually Dirk's second time making them. He had made them for us as a trial run previously. Well, we had the Roots Festival coming up in, I don't even remember now. Time has no meaning around here anymore. And we thought, okay, it'd be really cool for us to make a bunch of suckers to take to the Roots Festival. And we put it off and put it off and put it off because we had other projects. And the next thing I know, it's 2 days before the festival. We don't have any suckers made. And I had never attempted to make them by myself before, but Dirk was at work. So I decided to take one for the team. And I thought, okay, this could be fun. I was wrong. That day, well, a bunch of other just little inconveniences had kept popping up. So when I experienced the difficulties with making the suckers, I told Dirk, I said, nope, I'm never doing this again, because what happened was, since the humidity was so high in here, the suckers didn't set up. And when I was ready to try to take them out, they got hard at first, and I got them in their wrappers and everything. I had them on the table. I left. I came back maybe not even an hour later, and these suckers had lost all form. They were literally honey taffy. And it was probably at least 2 weeks. We had made a bunch too. I had to put them in the freezer because, like I said, they were taffy consistency, and I didn't want them to keep melting and whatnot. But it was 2 weeks before I touched one of these. I was upset. I didn't have any honey in those 2 weeks. I was holding a grudge. Well, I decided I wanted a sweet treat one day and decided to get one of the failed attempt honeysuckers. And that's when I realized that it was more of a taffy consistency, but the flavor was still delicious. And I think within 2 weeks, every single one of those was gone. Little time passed. I decided that I wanted some more honey taffy, specifically taffy. So I decided one day, I'm going to try this again. You know, I already know how it's going to turn out, and that's what I want. Well, wouldn't you know it, I made the perfect honeysuckers that day. I don't know if it was the humidity or maybe my method, maybe I was more patient, cooked it longer. I don't know, but I got suckers. And we're going to try this again, and I'm going to show you the method, show you how to do it, and we're going to experiment today and see whether or not we're going to get suckers or taffy. And if you watched yesterday's video with the little garden tour, I made mention that we still don't have our window AC unit in. We're not going to put it in this year. We're just going to ride out the heat. There's plenty of ways to keep cool in here. But that being said, the temperature gauge that we had before had a humidity reading on it. The one that we have now does not. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Yes, I'm using a temperature. Okay, so it's 77.9 in here right now. And we're going to see if the humidity is low enough or if I can cook it properly. We're going to see. I really want some taffy. Dirk probably wants the suckers. And y'all are going to come along and see which one we get. First and foremost, you're going to need to get your ingredients together. And it's really simple. Takes a cup of sugar, quarter cup of water, and third cup of honey, which I kind of overfilled it so it's spilling out. And the honey we're using today is Hollow Log Honey Company. I don't know if y'all can see that really good zoomed in, but it's out of Valonia, Indiana, and this year it's what we've been selling at the produce stand and at the store. Have my burner, have my pot, and then over here I've got a couple molds. These are the ones that we're gonna fill up first. I don't really remember how much one batch of this is gonna make. I know it'll fill these up, and I might be able to get 3 of these, but I put 6 just in case, because once you start to dip it out, if you don't do it quick enough, it'll start to harden, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt to get it back on the burner and get it softened up again. It's not hard, it's just messy. So if you can do it right the first time, or do it quickly enough the first time and be fully prepared, you're gonna be in a much better situation. And that's gonna be my mixer. The molds, I found this one I got at Joann's fabric store. This one Dirk ordered offline, and we have several smaller ones that we usually use to make kind of honey cough drops with the excess honey that won't fit in the sucker molds. But this is all we're gonna do today. I'm only gonna do 1 batch, and we're gonna see how it turns out. Okay, I'm gonna try and do this holding the GoPro. It shouldn't be an issue. If I do have an issue, I'll find something that I can stick it to that's magnetized. But, oops. Okay, nope. And I'm just putting this on stir fry because it's a lower temperature. What you're gonna wanna do is get your mixture up to about 300 degrees. So about medium heat on a burner if you don't have a burner that will tell you the exact temperature. And of course you can get a meat thermometer or something like that to stick in and tell what your temperature is. And what you want to do first is go ahead and add your sugar and your water. And that sugar is just going to help crystallize the honey. And you're gonna just wanna stir that, just the honey. I'm gonna turn that down a little bit so it's right around 300, a little bit lower. So you just wanna get your sugar and your water good and mixed up first. And then you add the honey. Just slowly start stirring that in. The first video that we did, I believe Dirk got it up to 300 degrees and kept it there stirring for about 5 minutes. I tried that on the night that I had the issues, and since I wasn't successful the second time that I tried it, and when I did end up making honeysuckers, I kept it I let it get to 300, but then I kept it on for a little bit longer. I didn't keep track of a time. I was going more by smell and color. But I mean, I realized that it's kind of experimental too. You'll find what works for you and what doesn't. But I'm gonna bump up the temperature just a little bit. And I'm not gonna sit here stirring normal speed for 15 minutes, so I'm going to toss y'all on some time lapse and get back to you when it's time to pour. It's a little bit over 300 degrees, and you can see compared to the beginning, it's starting to really darken up nicely. And when I say that I pay attention to how it looks and the smell, It's really hard to explain the smell part of it unless you're actually in here and cooking it. I mean, you can definitely start to smell honey. And I mean, anyone that's done any baking before or any cooking, I mean, you can tell when something's starting to burn. And I can smell it's starting. It's just about there, y'all. I think we're there. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and carefully start getting the honey mixture in. Again, this can be a very messy process. So if you're trying it for the first time, just go in there knowing that. Like with anything, practice makes perfect, and I'm definitely a lot better making less of a mess now than I was either of my last times making it. We have what may end up staying as suckers and what may turn into taffy. You can see here at the end, the honey was starting to thicken up, so it was a little harder to pour just how I wanted it. And that's about what I had left that I couldn't scrape back up. So to clean that, I'll end up, like I said, just turning on the burner a little bit, adding a little bit of water to get it loosened up, and then it comes out pretty quickly. Pretty easily. And then when you're going to clean the honey off of the silicone pop trays, it's really easy. They just pop right off once it's dry. And I should mention that if you're eating honey, if you don't know much about honey but enjoy it, if you're cooking with it, eating with it, whatever, it's very beneficial to try to find someone local that sells honey versus getting it from Walmart, JC, whatever. The benefits of eating honey local to your area, and it's pretty wild because when it comes to honey, local can be upwards of a 50 mile radius for honey. So if you can find something local within that range and you eat it on a regular basis, whether it's spreading it on toast or making honey pops, honey candy, something like that, it has great benefits for your health, for your allergies. I highly recommend doing that. But we're going to let these set up. Last time I let them sit for about an hour before I even attempted to touch them. So that's what I'm going to do now. And I'm going to go ahead and get my workstation cleaned up and everything. And I'll bring you back in an hour for the great reveal of popping them out. And we're going to see if we end up with suckers or taffy. Stay tuned. All right, we're back. I have been working out in the gardens while I've been waiting for these to set. So the red face, sweat, but I have my spidey sense is telling me that these are probably going to end up turning into taffy just because they're still a little tacky after all this time. But I'm going to go ahead and get some powdered sugar on them, and I use this each time so it's a little clumped in places, but I'll get some powdered sugar on them, and that just kind of helps keep them from completely sticking to the plastic wrap. Whether it really 100% helps or not, I don't know. But I don't put a lot on there, and it does not harm the flavor or the taste at all when you go to eat them. But I'll show you how I do that here. Kind of at a weird angle. We'll see how that works. And what we're going to do is just pop it right out like that. And I just kind of sprinkle. These are just for us this time around. I'm not really worried about what they look like. And like I said, I really think that I'm going to get some taffy out of these. But I just get some powdered sugar on it. Get it Oh goodness, that's not gonna work now, is it? These must be smaller bags than I had last time. All right, put a pause on that. If you don't have actual candy or sucker bags, saran wrap works just fine. It's not gonna look as pretty, but again, this one here is just for us. And what I'm gonna do, I'm not gonna have y'all watch the full event of me wrapping all these up. I'm gonna go ahead and get them all powdered sugar coated into the saran wrap, and the smaller suckers will fit in the smaller bags. And I'm gonna go back out in the garden for about 20-25 minutes, and then I'm gonna pop back up here and we're gonna check and see if they've held their form or if they've kind of mushed back into taffy. If they're gonna lose their form, they're gonna do it pretty quickly, and I'll be able to tell within that first 20-25 minutes. So stick around, I'll be right back, and we'll see if we have suckers or if we have taffy. Sucker time. I think we have actual suckers and not taffy, which on the one hand will be awesome if I have perfected the suckers, but on the other hand, that means I'll probably never get my taffy again. But all right, let's open this up and see. Pull it out. Like I said, the white is just the powdered sugar. Y'all, that is a honeysucker. Solid all the way through. All right. Now I'm gonna have to find me a honey taffy recipe to try so I can have my honey taffy again. But I appreciate y'all watching along, and if there are any bakers, candy makers out there, I give y'all so many props. It's such a science with the ingredients and, you know, time things have to cook and all that, temperature. It's not like cooking over the stove where you can just, for dinner, you know, experiment with a bunch of different ingredients. It really is an art and a science. But I hope y'all get you some local honey and hop in the kitchen and try to get you some honeysuckers made. And if you try it and you get taffy, let me know. I might have to buy some from you. But like we like to say here on Mama Bear's Homestead and More, keep on keeping on, friends.